Today is lesson 12-2. It's telling time to the minute, and it was a tough lesson today for many students. So I started with a review, 3 steps on how to tell time. Step 1, find the hour hand and the minute hand. If you forget which is which, remember the hour hand is short, the minute hand is long. Then look to see where the hour hand is pointing. The number it's pointing to is the hour. Here the hour hand is pointing to the 1. So the hour is 1 o'clock. If it's pointing between 2 numbers, the lower number is the hour. The number, I should say, that comes first is the hour. So we looked at these clocks, talked about what hour these clocks were as practice. And then I put a whole bunch of clocks here and had students just look at the hour hand. I'm going to click through some slides. Look at how that hour hand is moving actually kind of slowly as the minute hand jumps every 5 minutes. And the minute hand moves all the way around the whole clock in the time it takes for the hour hand to just move from 1 hour to the next. So the third step of telling time is to look at where the minute hand is pointing and count by 5s that many times. For example, here on this clock, the minute hand, the long one, is pointing to the 5. So you start here at the 1 and you start counting by 5s. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. We know that it's 25 minutes past the hour if the minute hand's pointing to the 5. So there's the 3 steps again for review. Except I put at the bottom, there is a little bit more to it. Like for example here, we could say 7:25, or we could say it another way. We could say 25 minutes past 7. So basically what that means is the time is 7:25. In other words, 25 minutes ago, it was 7 o'clock. It's now 25 minutes past 7 o'clock, or what we say, 25 minutes past 7. The minute hand's pointing to the 3, and there's 2 or even more ways to say this time. We could say it's quarter past the current hour, because now the minute hand, the long one, is pointing to the 3, and a quarter of the full hour has gone by. Or we could say it's 15 minutes past the current hour. The minute hand points to the 6. 2 ways to say this. We could say it's half past the current hour, because look at my mouse here, I'm moving across half of the clock by the time I get to the 6. Or we could say it's 30 minutes past the hour, because if we count by 5s, when we get up to 6, we're at 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So it's 30 minutes past. Say this time in 2 ways. 12:15, quarter past 12, 15 minutes past 12. Oh, and I wanted to point out that saying 12:15 is the same as writing it out in letters. A lot of people say it's 2 different ways. A lot of students say it's 2 different ways to say it, but I'm taking that as one way. Say this time in 2 different ways. Pause the video to think about it. Quarter past 11, or 11:15, or 15 minutes past 11. How about this time in 2 ways? It's quarter past 7, 7:15, 15 minutes past 7. Now the minute hand is down at the 6. So what are 2 ways to say this time? We could say half past 2. We could say 2:30. We could say 30 minutes past 2. Here's another one to say in 2 ways. The hour hand's between the 6 and the 7. Minute hand's halfway across the clock. Half past 6, or 6:30, or 30 minutes past 6. How about this one? Say it in 2 ways. Say 8:30, or half past 8, or 30 minutes past 8. This guy's confused. He says the hour hand, this is the red one on this particular clock, is between the 8 and the 9. How do we know it's 8:30, not 9:30? This is where it gets tricky. When we have an hour hand pointing between 2 numbers, we always say the number that's lower, the number that comes first on the clock. So watch out for that. The other tricky thing is quarter to. When the minute hand is at the 9, we can start talking about the hour that's coming next. Up to this point, before the minute hand reaches the 9, we don't talk about what hour comes next. We always talk about the current hour. But here we can start talking about the upcoming hour, the hour that comes next. So when there's 15 minutes or less left until the new hour, in other words, when the minute hand is here or getting closer to the 12, somewhere in this quarter of the clock, we say quarter to, the next hour. So, for example, here the hour hands between the 2 and the 3. Does this clock show quarter to 2 or quarter to 3? Correct answer is B, quarter to 3. Because it's a quarter of an hour, 15 minutes, this amount of time left until the hour hands at the 3 and the minute hands right at the 12 for 3 o'clock. It's a quarter of an hour left until 3, or quarter to 3. And there it is again. We can do it the other way. We can count by fives and say 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. We know the minute's 45. And if we do it that way, we do say the lower number. We could say that this time is 2:45 or quarter to 3. Quarter to is tricky. Say the next hour. Quarter past what? Quarter past 2. Half past what? Half past 7. Quarter to what? Don't get tricked. Quarter to 2, because 2 is the next hour coming up. Half past what? Half past 5. Quarter to what? Quarter to 12. Okay. So you've learned to tell time to the half hour and the quarter hour, and now let's learn to tell time to the minute. What are some examples of exact times of events? You got to know when the movie starts. If you want to be on time, you got to know when school starts. And then we made our clocks show 8:47. Where should the hour hand point? The hour hand is between the 8 and the 9, but it's closer to the 9 than the 8. Where should the minute hand point? Let's see, we can count by fives until we get up to 45, which is the closest number, counting by fives, to 47. So count by fives to 45, you'll be pointing at the 9, right? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, and then it's 47, not 45, that we need. So count 2 more little tick marks, add 2 to get to 8:47. I'm just a little bit past the 9 with the minute hand there. 2 other ways to say this time. 13 minutes to 9 or 47 minutes past 8. We practice with a few more clocks.
And brainstorm at least 3 ideas with your buddy about why people.
And that was it for today.